Gold has been making some serious moves lately, and this week is shaping up to be another big one. The question is, what should we be expecting in the markets for the week ahead? Now, if you like this style of video, I'm going to be giving you 5 seconds. Quickly click on the like and subscribe button so that you don't miss out on my future videos. And I want you to also comment more if you want more of these kinds of videos. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So as we start approaching the charts, you guys know that I always like to start out with the bigger time frame because the bigger time frame will tell us a bigger picture of what the market is like. So if you look at the monthly candle, we can see that currently gold is still being bullish as compared to the past 3 months, whereby it has been, I would say, not much action because market for the past 3 months went up and closed at the same areas, right? For especially past two, last month itself was ended up in a bearish state. So let's look at the weekly chart right now. We can see that in the weekly perspective, notice I drew a trend line here, and right now it's still respecting this trend line. So far it has already tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 5 times. Right now we are actually touching the trend line for the somewhat 6th time, right? So this week is going to be very, very important because we want to actually find out what's going to be happening to gold if this trend line were to hold or if we will break. Now, if it was broken, I would expect that gold would more than not likely hit this next key level right here, which is the 3260 to 3280 ish support, because this is going to be one of the last supports that hold gold. All right. Now, if it does hit this level right here, I do expect that gold will to be bouncing up from this level and heading up. Now, since we have already drawn the support, I will also want to draw what I see in the weekly resistance. Right. So this is another level that I'm also waiting for. And the main thing is that I want to actually see if this level is able to be broken above. Right, if gold is able to close above this level. Currently, of course, we are a little bit far from it, right? But this level here is important because it has been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and it's yet to be broken, just like the support right here. So we want to see if this is able to be broken before gold is able to go up higher. So these are some 2 important areas that you need to actually pay attention to. If gold does come back down to this support, very likely it should head up. But if it does break the support, then you can see gold going down. Although I doubt this will happen looking at the current market situation right now. Okay, now if I were to go to a daily perspective, right now again, gold has been sideways for the longest of time. Right now, it's still playing within this level of support resistance. So we want to actually see what's going to be happening this week itself. Now, if I were to look at it from the daily perspective, you can actually see that this is currently the support, all right, that is hovering over, and it has actually played around this support 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. 3 days from last week, it has been playing around this support. Now, I want to see whether this support is still able to hold or not, right? If it does hold, then very likely it will actually hit upwards. But if it doesn't hold, then we can actually look to see it coming down to this level right here, which we were talking about, 3260 to 3280 support. Now, and this is actually very, very important because, okay, I want to actually look at DXY. So if you have a look at DXY, you will notice that DXY, which is the US dollar index, is currently a little bit bearish. Yes, it did break past this trend line right here and trying to push up, but however, after pushing up, it actually rejected at this area right here and now has gone down, and it has been playing over this level of support resistance for some time right now, right? If you actually were to look at last Monday, it did actually try to push above this, but it got rejected with a long wick, indicating that the sellers are still strong, right? Indicating that US dollar is still weak, so it's not ready to be going up just yet. Right now, again, it's at this level of support. So if this level of support does hold, right, we can expect US dollar to go up, right? Again, still playing with this level, but if it does break right, we can actually assume that that the US dollar still wants to hit downwards to the next level of support. Now, if US dollar does go downwards, what's going to happen to gold, right? Since USD is inversely proportionate to gold, which means that if USD goes down, gold will usually go up, right? So again, for gold, I'm usually still bullish with gold, but I just want to see what's happening to it right now first, see whether it's able to, withhold this level of support. If it does, likely it will go up, but if it doesn't, it may actually go down. So with that said, also, let's have a look at what are some of the events that are going to be happening this week, right, that are going to be impacting gold, because it's indirectly impacting the US dollars. So US dollars, again, inversely proportionate to gold. Now, right now, I'm only interested in mainly the high impact news, the ones in orange, not really interested in. So for those of you who are wondering how do I get to this, you can go to forexfactory.com, whereby you are able to see what are the major news for USD, or even if you trade other pairs, you can actually have a look at all the other pairs. But in this example right now, I'm just only interested in gold because that's the main pair that I trade. Now, if you actually have a look, Wednesday, there's nothing much besides FOMC member Wallace speaking, but it's orange color news, which means that it's medium impact. Not too worried about that. Now, if you look on Thursday, 2 a.m., we have the FOMC meeting minutes. Although, from my experience, FOMC meeting minutes does not have a very big impact on the movement of gold, right? But what will be impacting gold, right, would be the 8:30 p.m. news, which is the unemployment rates and unemployment claims. Sorry, we have 9:45 flash manufacturing PMI and also flash services PMI. And on Friday, we do have Federal Chairman Powell that speaks at 10 p.m. Now, this is going to be also another major impact to gold, since whatever Federal Chairman Powell says may influence how the US dollar moves, right? And also, why is he speaking? It will actually be because of this Jackson Hole Symposium, which is basically a gathering that they have. Now, if you want to find out more details about what all this is about, for example, the Jackson Hole Symposium, you can actually click on this small detail right here, and it will actually show you what are the notes that you can actually find out more information. So, for example, the Jackson Hole Symposium essentially is an economic policy symposium held in Jackson Hole, hence its name, right? Wyoming, and it's actually attended by central bankers, finance ministers, and academics from all around the world, right? So let's see how this will actually impact the Federal Reserve, because they are actually going to be thinking about cutting down the interest rates as well. So speaking of interest rates, let's have a look at what is to be expected for the next FOMC. Now, I want to share with you one resource that you can actually use for this. You can go to actually FedWatch CME Group. You can just Google that. But the important thing that I want to actually bring you towards would be this FedWatch tool on 17th of September. So this is what they are predicting that is going to happen during the next FOMC meeting, which will happen on 17 September. Now, this FOMC meeting is going to be really, really important leading up to it, because this will be the date that they are actually thinking about reducing the interest rates. How do we know? Because the current interest rate is actually 425 to 450, right? If you actually see the previous FOMC meeting, right, which was in August and stuff like that, majority of it was actually leaning to no cutting of interest rates, right? Right now in the September one, there's going to be a huge difference, because at 425, 450, which means no cuts, this is actually only a 15% probability. However, if you look at the 400 to 425, it actually has a probability of around 84.6%, close to 85%, which means that there is higher chance or huge chance that there is going to be an interest rate cut. So this can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, however you see it. To me, if you ask me, when interest rate goes down, what's going to happen to US dollars? US dollar is likely going to go up. When the interest rate goes down, more than likely, businesses will want to borrow money from the bank, and this will be able to stimulate the businesses in US. However, if the inflation rate is too high, then it may also impact what's going to happen. We're going to have to pay very close attention to what the Federal Reserve is going to do, right, at the next FOMC meeting. So right now, I'm also going to look at some other asset classes. Let's have a look at BTC, Bitcoin. Right now, from what I see, Bitcoin did actually have a breakout last week, right? You can see on 13th of August, it actually did a breakout. And right now, it's actually retracing back to the support level. So if you ask me, if those of you who are actually investing into Bitcoin, this is actually a very, very good support level, which is currently at, in order to look to buy some gold, right? Because this level should be a very strong support level. But however, if it does break, you can actually look at the next support level right here. These are what we call as the daily supports, which tend to be quite strong as well. Now, for those of you who trade currency pairs, I'm just going to go through the basic currency index. For those of you who are interested in trading JPY, you'll be able to see that currently the JPY index is playing within this level of support and resistance. Currently, I don't see much movement just of yet, right? But as it shows, it may likely head down to the support right here, right? So if JPY does head down to the support, when JPY goes down, anything that is against JPY will tend to go up, inversely proportional. So for example, if you are trading GBP, JPY, then GBP will tend to go up. If you are trading AUD, JPY, AUD will tend to go up. If you're trading USD, JPY, USD will tend to go up. So based on the pair that you trade, you can also look at the index to see what may potentially happen to that pair that you're trading. So I hope that this quick market update is able to give you a little bit more perspective as to what's going to be happening in the markets for this week. And if you like videos like this, do let me know in the comments. Would be more than happy to share more content like this with you guys. Now, also, if you want to join in my Telegram, I will put a link in the description. So do check that out as well. Now, if you want to see how I was able to catch a live trade that was able to move 200 pips, and this was done live on YouTube, do make sure that you check the video around this, and I will be more than happy to share. So with that said, guys, I hope that this is able to help you guys. See you and bye-bye.